Please welcome the President and CEO of Junior Achievement of British Columbia, Sheila Biggers.
Good evening. My name is Sheila Biggers, and I'm the President and CEO of JA British Columbia. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the 15th Annual Business Laureates of BC Induction Ceremony. Tonight's program is proudly presented by Fasken and RBC Royal Bank. We're broadcasting this evening from the traditional territories of the Coast Salish people, represented by the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh, whose relationship with the land continues to this day. I would also like to acknowledge with gratitude the Indigenous peoples of the land that you are viewing from. In an ideal world, we'd be inducting our laureates together at a gala. Of course, since early 2020, the world has been anything but ideal. What has given me comfort over the past year is that leaders like Chief Louis, Gordon Diamond, Ratna, and Aaron Stevens are providing jobs, keeping their people safe, and supporting their communities. All four of these leaders have demonstrated time and again that prosperity works best when it's available to everyone. As I mentioned, this is only the 15th year of the Business Hall of Fame, and we look forward to many more years of inducting leaders like these. Thank you for showing your support to the laureates by joining us this evening. And like you, I look forward to the opportunity to celebrate with the inductees in person. Thank you to our sponsors who have patiently waited while we postponed the induction and then changed the format to virtual. We are grateful for your support. 100% of the net proceeds raised through the Hall of Fame is used to deliver entrepreneurship, financial literacy, and work readiness programs to tens of thousands of BC youth every year. The pandemic has served to highlight the importance of these programs in safeguarding youth from an unpredictable future. Tonight, you will have a chance to see how your investments are changing the lives of BC youth. A number of students have been awarded a scholarship thanks to your contributions, and a few are presenting tonight. Of course, we look forward to the day when some of these students are inducted into the Business Hall of Fame themselves. Tonight would not be possible without the tireless efforts of our two co-chairs, Barbara Brink and Bill Weinmark. Barbara and Bill, on behalf of the Board of Directors, thank you for committing your time and energy to JABC. I would also like to thank Rosine and Aisha, members of the JABC team, for working with the co-chairs to plan and execute this celebration. It is now my pleasure to introduce our Master of Ceremonies for the evening, Barbara Brink. Barbara was the founding co-chair of the Hall of Fame and continues to lead this initiative today. Barbara has dedicated much of her career to volunteerism and has helped JABC raise millions of dollars for youth education over the years. Barbara was the founder and driving force behind the creation of Science World, and she served on multiple boards, including CPA BC, VGH and UBC Hospital Foundation, the Vancouver Board of Trade, and JABC. Barbara is the recipient of both the Order of Canada and the Order of British Columbia in recognition of her outstanding contributions to society. Thank you, Barbara. Over to you.
Thank you, Sheila. And good evening, everybody. Whether you're at home or in your office, this is a very special evening. I love this event because it is the one time of the year where we revere those who built the province, and we're excited by those who are going to grow up and build the province. So it's a wonderful evening where we combine both those elements. Tonight, we're celebrating 13 outstanding individuals who are being inducted into the Business Laureates Hall of Fame. They are BC business leaders who have made significant contributions to our province and country. As you will learn, they have demonstrated exceptional vision, leadership, legacy, and integrity, the qualities that make up a laureate. We call them legends. We're also going to learn more about Junior Achievement of British Columbia and the work they do to prepare our province's future leaders. To help us celebrate, we have a special welcome message from the Honourable Robbie Collon, Minister of Jobs, Economic Recovery and Innovation for the province of British Columbia.
Good evening. I'm Robbie Collon, Minister of Jobs, Economic Recovery and Innovation. I'm pleased to be joining you today from the traditional territory of the Lekwungen-speaking people, the Stongis and Esquimalt nations. Thank you to Barbara Brink, Sheila Biggers, and the Junior Achievement of British Columbia for inviting me to participate in this event. And hello to all of you across BC from the business community and JABC. It's my privilege to join you in honoring the 2020 inductees into the Business Laureates of BC Hall of Fame. I want to personally congratulate Gordon Robert Diamond, Chief Clarence Louis, Aaron and Retana Stevens on your lifetime achievements as business leaders in this province. Gordon Robert Diamond, your entrepreneurial spirit is noted by the development and growth of West Coast reduction and Osteo properties. Your Diamond Foundation has benefited the people of British Columbia for almost 40 years. From healthcare and the arts to education, your philanthropy has made the difference to British Columbians. Chief Clarence Joseph Louis, for more than 30 years, the Osoyoos Indian Band has benefited from your entrepreneurial leadership. Your band has become a multifaceted corporation with 11 businesses and 5 joint ventures employing over 1,000 people. The list of achievements on your tenure as chief is long, modeling sustainable business and socioeconomic development. Your remarkable accomplishments throughout your career and your commitment to your community is outstanding. Aaron and Retana Stevens, you've done an incredible job growing Nature's Path Foods to become North America's largest independent certified organic breakfast and snack food company. Your awards and achievements are many, as are your contributions to the community. We applaud your commitments to leaving the earth better than you found it. To all the inductees, I want to say a big thank you for your exceptional contributions to your communities. Your initiative and drive, demonstrated by your business achievements, set a high bar for young people who aspire to be leaders in their chosen fields. Thank you for generously sharing your expertise, resources, and influence. You have helped make BC a better place to live in and work in. I want to also congratulate the families of the 10 posthumous pioneers inducted as part of the 15th anniversary of the Hall of Fame. For everyone watching tonight, you will hear from a number of influential business leaders. Young people, take it all in. Be inspired as you prepare for your next steps, whether that's more education, a new job, or the start of a new business. Thank you for all of you for attending, and I hope you enjoy your evening and the conversation with the laureates being honored.
Thank you, Minister Collon, for your remarks. At this time in our lives, it is so wonderful to have the support of different levels of government as we all pivot and figure out different ways and want to ensure that our youth are successful as the future goes on. Now, leadership is one of the primary themes tonight as we acknowledge and celebrate those who have achieved the highest level of excellence in their field. By attending this event, you are signaling your support of the goals and objectives of junior achievement in BC in creating and inspiring our province's future leaders. So tonight, we're not only celebrating our laureate inductees, we're celebrating our past laureates, mentors, partners, and the students they inspire to become tomorrow's leaders. As mentioned earlier, the net proceeds from tonight support JABC, whose mission is to inspire, prepare, and empower youth for lifelong success through the delivery of free programs. These programs are focused in the areas of entrepreneurship, work readiness, and financial literacy. The programs complement regular classroom work and provide lessons in leadership, communication, problem-solving, collaboration, and more, preparing them to be resilient, adaptable, and ready to take on whichever career path they choose. The word resilience just reminds us that the past 14 months, while it was very difficult for so many students, will give them a sense that they can get through things. And so resilience is going to become a key word as we all go forward. So regardless of social or economic background, JABC's vision is to provide all youth with access to life-changing programs. JA programs are available across the province and are currently in 95% of BC school districts. Programs are available in person and online, and they offer a number of large-scale capstone experiences each year. So it's now my pleasure to present the winners of the JABC Student Award for Oratory and Presentation Skills. This is just one of the several scholarships that JABC hands out every year. I would just like to pause for a moment. When I was 16, I was living in Stratford, Ontario, where of course the famous festival is. I took a drama course. I was 16 years old, and it stood me in good stead for the rest of my life. So these young students have prepared very hard to prepare for this video. But that is part of being in the business life, is being able to present your case. So these applicants had to submit a video as part of their application, and the winners were selected by a panel made up of BC leaders, business leaders. The winners will each receive a $2,500 scholarship to assist them with their post-secondary education. So each student is now going to tell you how JA has impacted their lives.
Imagine a generation where students are equipped with the knowledge to dream big and to take control of their future. That imagination can now be reality by developing an entrepreneurial mindset. In high school, I participated in a JA program, being a part of 2 student companies. Working in these professional environments filled with exceptional youth and industry leaders has led me to want to become an entrepreneur and has helped me develop an entrepreneurial mindset. In these 2 companies, I faced setbacks from failing to make sales to failing to break even. With these setbacks, I felt disappointed and worried about my future. However, I realized that instead of dwelling in the past, I can develop an entrepreneurial mindset, learning and persisting through failures. With this mindset, I wish to apply my JA skills to when I become an entrepreneur and have the confidence to dream big and to take control of my future. Thank you.
Good evening. 3 years ago, I learned about the Junior Achievement Company program. I made the decision to step outside of my comfort zone and join. For 2 years in high school, I enhanced my soft skills through hands-on learning, running a company with a team of youth. It was my first time ever doing a panel interview, sales pitch, and networking event, all crucial experiences that helped prepare me for my business endeavors. JA acted as the catalyst for my personal growth as a business professional. After becoming more comfortable public speaking, I delivered a TED Talk and later became the curator of the TEDx Hamburg Club. Building upon the skills I have learned, I became the CEO of a student-led company that came in second place at the UBC Innovate competition, and I am now organizing that same event for this year. In the future, I hope to give back to junior achievement by returning as a mentor and to aid the next generation in becoming leaders of tomorrow. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The biggest risk is not taking any risks. That's what Mark Zuckerberg said in a 2015 interview. Having done the JA Company program twice, the beginning is familiar to me. A group of amazing but inexperienced students are gathered in a team to create and develop a product. If there's any commonalities between the many company program teams, it's that we all have a passion and desire to see our ideas bloom into successes. Yet success is not possible if that first leap of faith, that first risk, is not taken. Through JABC, my team had the mentorship and encouragement we needed to not only develop new skills, but to also take that risk with our business. See, what I've come to learn is that you could have all the potential in the world, all the most brilliant and innovative ideas, yet without the commitment to taking risks, those ideas will never become successes. And it's this idea that I've learned through my time at JABC that is the most important. Through JABC, I've gained the confidence and encouragement I need to take risks in the future, to take my ideas and to commit to taking that first leap of faith. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Emily Jansen, and I've always been the dreamer who shoots for the stars. However, for many years I focused on lofty ideas instead of concrete plans, and often found myself struggling to bring my dreams into reality. But then last year, I joined the Junior Achievement Company program, and it's made an incredible change in my life. I became the president of our reusable notebook company, Renotify, and quickly had to learn to manage tasks for all 12 of our team members. Working with people who didn't always agree with me also taught me synergy, or how to unite differing strengths to create something stronger than both of them. As the weeks went on, I learned how to problem solve, to think critically, to build connections, and all of a sudden it was okay to shoot for the stars because we were building the rocket ship that could get us there. Through participating in Junior Achievement, I've learned how to turn my dreams into concrete plans, which opens the door for me to achieve incredible things in the future. Thank you, JA.
Thank you to our presenters. They really do represent the future. Now, those students have aptly shown us that they can stand on their own 2 feet and give a well thought out oral presentation. There is also another equally important aspect of business acumen, and that is to build a product and take it to market. So our final student presentation is a student company called E-Coil, based in Vancouver. Now, they've been awarded the Junior Entrepreneur Award, and the company representatives have decided to split the winnings among the total team, a total of $7,500. So let's take a look at their company presentation, where they tell you about their product, Straw Rush.
Hi, my name is David, and I'm the VP of Human Resources. As students from a coastal province, we were inspired by the 14th UN Sustainability Goal, Life Underwater, to create JBC's first software company, E-Coil. Our first game, Straw Rush, consists of educational minigames with a storyline that puts the players into the perspectives of endangered sea animals. Users playing these games will help us achieve our goal of raising awareness for ocean pollution.
Hello, my name is Diana, and I'm the VP of Marketing. Our target market is children aged 9 to 15, and we hope to retain this market through Instagram, a highly used platform, while also advertising to their parents through Facebook. Now at this point, you may wonder, how much would it cost to create our game? According to our research, our estimated total cost for game production is $3,330 for 1,000 users. Our total revenue, according to our model, would be $4,000, and we would reach our break-even point in 4 months. We would love to receive $3,000 for the development of our game for 10% stake, if any of you would like to invest. Our in-game monetary system directs 20% earning surplus to charities also involved in supporting this cause, such as Oceanwise.
Hi, my name is Samantha, and I'm the VP of Sales. We have developed so many new skills, such as developing a business plan, making an app prototype using Figma, and creating a game demo using Scratch. Some of us are developers, some are artists, others are business-oriented, but together we are E-Coil. One of my favorite mini-games involves sorting the trash into the correct bin. It's a fun yet practical game that teaches the player how to dispose of trash properly. Eventually, we hope that our players are not only educated on ocean pollution, but are able to apply their knowledge from our mini-games in real-life scenarios.
Hi, my name is Mary, and I'm the president of E-Coil. At the dawn of our company, we were strangers and had no clue how to start a company. We collaborated virtually on Zoom to help us build leadership and communication skills. Unlike learning from a textbook, we learned to be more resourceful and hands-on in implementing our vision. Like the moonlighting our path, our mentors led our way. They help us better understand how to create an effective advertisement strategies based on a niche, and continuously refining our approach for customer surveys. Overall, the JABC company programs has taught us how to run a successful business enterprise, how to overcome the challenges and the conflicts that we faced. E-Coil would like to thank our mentors, JA British Columbia, and the donors and sponsors who have given us such an amazing opportunity.
Thank you to all of our students tonight. I have no doubt that these impressive young entrepreneurs will become founders and executive very soon. That is one of the delightful things about tonight, is that we have these students, I call it bookends. We have these students who are just so keen to get ahead and are learning so much, and then we also revere the laureates. And it's like bookends in a library. I mean, it's really a wonder transition. So it's now time to learn more about the 13 laureate inductees. They have been proven leaders in our community throughout the years, and it is an honor to welcome them into the Hall of Fame. I'm now going to read the Laureates Citation. They built, we benefit. These words represent the foundation of the Business Laureates of British Columbia Hall of Fame. While they might have succeeded in different industries, different times in our history, and in different parts of this great province, the laureates all exemplify excellence, integrity, sound business ethics, and the respect of their peers. Their careers are extraordinary. The award presented to each laureate acknowledges the spirit of the greatest leaders and mentors in our province. So business leaders, past and present, are nominated and chosen by their peers. Laureates have demonstrated a vision that is unique among their peers. They have provided leadership to move others to achieve their goals. They have led their lives with great integrity, and they have built a legacy that will enrich those that follow. These 4 words are engraved in the awards presented to each laureate, and to each of them we express our gratitude. They built, we benefit. There are a number of other leaders who should be acknowledged posthumously. In honor of the 15th anniversary of the Hall of Fame, which we're celebrating tonight, we are inducting an additional 10 Pioneer Laureates. These are builders of our province whose contributions can be seen throughout BC today. So let's watch this video to learn more about them and the history of our province.
The guiding principles of Laureates include vision and integrity. Alexander Duncan Mccray is the epitome of both. Mccray had identified an opportunity in surplus railway lands. He sold them to American settlers, flocking west. And on the heels of his national success, he invested in a failing lumber company in BC. Exercising his national network, he persuaded the federal government to dredge the Fraser River. Deeper waters meant bigger ships carried more lumber, generating larger profits that modernized the mill and grew Canadian Western lumber into a forestry powerhouse. A contemporary of Mccray's was his accountant, John Helliwell, who guided many companies to success. He was a chartered accountant, a foundational professional that looked beyond the numbers. Helliwell, while focused on his clients, was also building his own company, one with an equally strong and lasting legacy. That company, Helliwell McLaughlin, became the largest accounting firm in Vancouver at the time. Today, it is known as KPMG. Of course, Bob Hallbauer's career was enhanced by his relationship with John Helliwell. He needed that steady hand and insights as he forged a mining empire that has grown to be a global leader. In the mid-50s, he joined Placer Dome and was quickly identified as a rising star. That's when tech lured him away to spearhead the development and management of far too many mines to mention. His track record was the same in good times and bad, on time, on budget. And because success begat success, Bob was asked to take on the CEO and president roles in 1986 after Teck acquired control of Cominco and then build the company into a global leader in mining. Mining, of course, does not happen without heavy equipment. The big rigs Maurice Young at Finning was supplying to BC's resource giants as they built their companies, and in so doing, he built his company into the largest Caterpillar dealer in the world. Upon his retirement, he turned his attention to the slopes, where he built out Whistler Ski Corporation. And as if that weren't enough for a career of substance, he also established the Center for Entrepreneurship and Venture Capital at UBC. Maurice Young also knew Canada needed to repair its relationship with First Nations, and that's why he established a program at UNBC supporting education for Indigenous students. He wasn't alone. Walter Kerner also set his mind to celebrating Indigenous culture and artists. He supported Indigenous carvers, helped to repatriate Indigenous works from abroad, and convinced then Prime Minister Trudeau the Senior to provide funding for the building of the iconic Museum of Anthropology, to which he donated his extensive collection. Walter and his brothers immigrated to Canada in 1939 and founded the Alaska Pine and Cellulose Company, which in 1957 became Rainier Canada, a company Walter led until his retirement. Another outstanding businessman, community leader, and philanthropist who embraced the relationship between business success and community engagement was Maurice J Wask. For 4 decades, Wask built his family business into one of the city's premier furniture and appliance businesses, Wask Limited. An element key to Maurice's success was his deft touch as a real estate investor. Not only did he have a keen eye on value, he also recognized that long-term success was dependent on his relationship with his tenants. He was generous with his time and his support of the community. Mr. Wask supported diverse non-profit organizations nationally and internationally, causes that included but were not limited to education, healthcare, social services, libraries, and the arts. One of the elements of John Hardy Mitchell's life was philanthropy. His career began modestly when he signed on as a timekeeper on the docks in the 1920s. Well, it didn't take long for him to find opportunity and act upon it. Despite the Depression, in the 30s, John took over as owner of Pacific Letteridge. a stevedoring service in Burrard Inlet. Quickly, he merged the company with Canadian Stevedoring and within years took control. Over the years, he merged, created, and took ownership of docks, warehouses, and terminals, growing to become one of the city's most influential employers. When the ink was still drying on Arthur McLaren's mechanical engineering degree, he went to work in the drawing office of West Coast Shipbuilders. Here, he helped design and build 55 10,000-ton cargo ships that were dispatched into service in the Second World War. Shortly after the war, in 1948, he started Allied Shipbuilders. Employing tried and true methods of hard work, ingenuity, and common sense, he built Allied into one of BC's major shipbuilding and ship repair companies. The company specialized in shallow draft ships for northern rivers and icebreakers for Arctic service. Many of the ships were designed in-house to Arthur's original design specs. Throughout the Second World War, Clarence Wallace presided over Burrard Dry Dock, all the while expanding company operations and building ships in support of the war effort. Finding opportunity in adversity led to dramatic growth and the adoption of innovative shipbuilding techniques. So outstanding was the rise of the company that Clarence was awarded the designation of Commander of the Order of the British Empire. Later in his career, he was appointed Lieutenant Governor. James Stuart Keat was a journalist. He was born to cast a light on society through the dissemination of information. Ink was in his blood. He was a sports reporter, a war correspondent, and a naval information officer. Following the war, he took over the role of bureau chief for Time magazine in Montreal. In the 1950s, he was the publisher of the Victoria Daily Times before becoming the publisher of the Newsroom of Record in British Columbia, the Vancouver Sun.
Congratulations to the families of the Pioneer Laureates. Generations of British Columbia have benefited thanks to these outstanding leaders. I would call them giants. Since our last celebration, we have lost two dear members of the Hall of Fame, Robert H. Lee and Dr. Ken Spencer. Bob Lee was a visionary and philanthropist and a much-loved community leader. Bob is remembered for his warmth and caring personality and for his incredible generosity, mainly through the Robert H. Lee Foundation, which has supported many causes and community initiatives. Dr. Kenneth Spencer was considered one of the founding fathers of the tech industry in BC, having founded one of the largest tech companies of its time. He continued on to become a philanthropist and initiated programs to support students and social enterprises. And indeed, he was a great help to Science World, which of course is dear to my heart. Let's continue to learn more about this year's laureate inductees. The videos you're about to see will make you feel very proud to be part of the business community of this province. The leaders profiled are founders of great companies and exemplify the strong entrepreneurial spirit that is the basis of our story. Now, our first video is about Gordon Robert Diamond, and we'll hear more from Gordon and the rest of the laureates' lives in just a short while. Thank you.
I can't save the whole world, but I can make it a little bit better. Isn't that awesome? When people see this, they go, wow. Take a picture through it. It'll make everybody nutty.
It's an odd metaphor for the life and career of Gordon Diamond, but it is also pitch perfect because it is complex. It is unusual. It takes a special kind of person to find meaning within the kaleidoscope and make sense of it. Exactly like West Coast Production, a complex and challenging business, a business the Diamond family founded and then wanted to sell. Well, everyone but Gordon.
My father wanted to sell the company in 1978. We were a good, solid company. And we were having tough competition. And I said, I don't want to sell a company. It's the greatest decision I ever made in my life.
It was. Gordon quickly revamped the company, hired a new team, and set out to take control of the aroma-rich sector in Western Canada.
He's taken a waste product that would have been causing us all kinds of problems if he wasn't rendering it down. And what does it do? It creates jobs. It creates a product. It cleans up the environment. And it's based right here in BC. And he's constantly improving it.
Yeah, it was a smelly industry, but we'll spend millions of dollars to allow that you can live next door.
And they're living next door to West Coast Reduction throughout Western Canada.
We have locations in Nanaimo, Vancouver, Edmonton, Calgary, Lethbridge, and Saskatoon.
Barry is Gordon's son-in-law, the third of 4 generations in the business.
My father, me, Barry, and Bram, my grandson who's 31, and he'll have good people.
And people, good people, is what Gordon attributes to the company's success.
He compliments people justifiably. He will tell people if he's not happy with them, no question about it. But he makes people around him feel good. I think that's one of the essences of his leadership, is he makes them feel good, and they want to do things for him, and they want to be loyal to him, and they want to make everything work.
Work it has.
So when we started 1964, West Coast started with 15 people.
Then, over the next 57 years, it grew and grew and grew. Today, West Coast employs more than 400 people.
We're the largest independent recycler of animal byproducts in Western Canada.
Recycling is the operative word. West Coast was recycling animal byproducts long before the term became popular, and the uses include pet food, soap, and energy.
British Petroleum, we're mixing our fats with fossil fuel. They're blending it, and we make a formula for them, and we're shipping it by truck to them every night.
While West Coast was in Gordon's core field of vision, he was also keeping an eye on the real estate market.
Gordon first got involved in real estate in 1965. He bought a small apartment building, and really that's where it began. And from there, every few years, he would set about investing in something else because he believed, once again, in the future of Vancouver and the Lower Mainland.
Those constant investments grew to become Gordon's real estate company, Ostaville Properties.
Ostaville is very diversified now. We build apartment buildings, industrial buildings. We'll look after office, retail, farms, and manufactured home parks.
The combination of West Coast and Ostaville has provided Gordon with the opportunity to be generous in his support of many organizations in BC and in Israel.
I give back to hospitals, Jewish causes, youth at risk, and I feel good about that.
One of the largest sectors to benefit from Gordon's largesse has been healthcare.
I remember once they came to buy the building of cancer on where they built the BC Cancer Research Foundation, and my mother had breast cancer, my wife had breast cancer, and they came to buy the building, and then I thought that I'd given some money to the Vancouver General Hospital, and then I said, what, things are good. And I gave them the building, and I was on the building committee.
Gordon Diamond, you saw opportunities others didn't, and when you realized them, we all benefited.
Congratulations, Gordon. Now, our next laureate to be profiled is Clarence Joseph Louis, or Chief Louis. So let's take a look.
When you're elected, you should want to move the yardsticks. You should want to improve the quality of life of your people.
Management by walking around refers to a leader who gets out from behind the mountain of paperwork on their desk and drops in on staff, greets visitors, makes connections, and orchestrates deals. A leader who has their finger on the pulse of the organization. Chief Clarence Louis has mastered the art of connecting with people. He determined he had to. That's because his job is far more than CEO of a development corporation. He's also the elected chief of the Osoyoos Indian Band.
Economic development is the basis of any society that's independent. You have to be an independent in order to be independent person, you have to have a full-time job and make decent income, or else you're not independent. So in order for a band to be independent, they have to have economic development, just like a city does or a country does.
I think with him, it's more of creating opportunities for associated band members, whether it's in all vast different areas. Because before, a lot of community members back in like the 50s, 60s, they actually had to travel to different communities or travel down to the United States to find employment. Now here, looking in 2020, if you want to grow up to be an accountant or a CFO, you have that ability to. If you want to drive $1 million race car, it's within your community. It's 5 minutes from your home. So creating those kind of unique opportunities in itself gives such a vast idea for employment for our members in our population base.
He's got as close to the right approach as anybody's going to get of bringing people together in true partnership. And when he does a deal, and why he's been successful all this deal, he really understands the business.
Since 1988, the Osoyoos Indian Band Development Corporation has focused on business development as a social enterprise. Louis says these businesses are owned by the band and they're managed and run by chief and council with the sole purpose of creating opportunities for members of the band and generating revenue to support the community. The band has 460 members and employs more than 700 people.
Every band member that wants a job has a job.
If you look at what he's done, he never at any point said, this is pretty good, I'm happy. He said, okay, we got that. What's next? Where can we keep? He's constantly pushing.
I always say the band scorecard should be the number of jobs it creates, those wages in those jobs, that they be a decent salary or a decent hourly wage, and that the amount of money the band brings in, and that money is put towards opportunities.
Well, in the 90s, when that was Clarence's main thing, was to create jobs. And one of the pictures that I thought was really awesome was he took a picture outside the band office with about 6 or 7 kids, and they all had their first check, and they're all laughing and smiling and happy. And that's why you do all this stuff, because you want people creating their own money, their own wealth.
And that is why Clarence and council at the Osoyoos Indian Band focus so much on generating opportunities that make a difference to the members of their band.
The Osoyoos Indian Band dollar goes into 50 different programs. That dollar is broken up 50, 60 different ways. Health, recreation, education, elders programs, youth programs, any sort of social service program you can think of. Buying wood, donations to minor hockey, to every little thing you can think of. Mm-hmm. Anything a parent pays for, that's what the Osoyoos Indian Band pays for. That's what the corporation is developed for. It's not just maximizing and making money and to be put into individual people's bank accounts.
Clarence Louis has more energy than just about anybody I've ever worked with. The guy is amazing, and he took his whole community, got them behind him, and he changed it forever. And he set an example for every other community in the province.
Clarence Louis is someone who has really made a difference, in my opinion. He's been an independent thinker, and he certainly has made his mark.
Chief Clarence Louis, you and the Osoyoos Indian Band Council have created an exceptional economic model, one where your members, the region, and the province have benefited.
Thank you, Chief Louis. If anyone watching tonight has not been to the winery, it is really a stunning place on a beautiful outcropping. And otherwise, you can buy the wine. But it is a beautiful winery for those of you who like to go to the valley. Now, our last video is about Aran and Ratna Stevens, so please enjoy.
If a man does not keep pace with his companions, perhaps it is because he hears a different drummer. Let him keep step to the music which he hears, however measured or far away. I did not start out in business to make money. I started out in business to serve the community, where I saw a big gap in that. And so, to me, it's not just about being so-called successful, that you're profitable and you're growing and all that, but it's also, may sound maudlin, but to love and to serve. These are greater than the profit motive.
That's not to say Aaron ever stopped filling gaps. When he saw needs, he filled them.
When I started first vegetarian restaurant in Canada in 1967, and then that was followed in 1971 by Lifestream, was Canada's first large natural food supermarket on the corner of 4th and Burrard in Vancouver, people thought we were crazy.
Yes, they did.
They started Nature's Path with $7.
I borrowed $1,500. With that money, I went and bought the assets of a failed restaurant, and I moved it into a location on 4th Avenue. In the beginning, some days we'd only have 2 or 3 customers in an entire day and evening. So one day, James Barber, who was a noted food columnist in Vancouver, did this amazing write-up on the restaurant, which he loved. And it was very tongue-in-cheek, his article. And thereafter, the place was jammed. It was packed every night.
So from that little investment, that risk-taking, that saying, hey, there has to be a better way to grow and consume and to market food, well, I think that's going to be their biggest legacy.
Quickly, Aaron identified other opportunities, and Ratna took over running the restaurant, and she loved it.
Was in tune with my customers. I loved them, each one of them. They came. I remember when Sidney Poitier was here. He said to me, Ratna, I don't come here for the decor. I come here for the food and the hospitality.
While Ratna was running the restaurant, Aaron set his sights upon the path of the infinite. Nature's path, to be exact. He was certain it was a good path.
I wanted to create something that was good. And thus, Nature's Path was born. And it started with a line of sprouted organic breads, and later on we launched the first certified organic breakfast cereal in North America. And we opened North America's first certified organic breakfast cereal plant.
The plant launch was, well, more like a hop.
Nothing was working. Nothing was working. Thousands of pounds of flakes were thrown in the garbage and also in hog feeds. Thousands. Anyhow, with resiliency and perseverance, we conquered.
Within a few years, we became the #1 brand of organic foods.
Today, Nature's Path is not only the #1 brand of organic foods, it is the only major brand in North America. Aaron says it's in thanks to a very simple philosophy.
Yeah, well, my dad told me when I was a boy, helping him plant sweet corn by hand on the farm, he said, Araboy, always leave the earth better than you found it.
It was a value system. We believed in organic, chemical-free food, which is good for people and for our planet.
An attitude and philosophy that informs Nature's Path culture. The goal within the company is to also enrich the lives of the people who earn their living working with the Stevens.
And I'm so grateful for their contribution. We have had people who have worked with us 21 years, 25 years, and we have also retired them.
And a big part of leaving the planet better off than you found it is in giving back to your community.
I'm very grateful that, to this point, we've given back close to $40 million worth of food and cash to various nonprofit organizations.
When I think about philanthropy, I think of the Stevens. The word philanthropy or a philanthropist really means to make the community, the province, the city a better place. And that is truly what the Stevens are all about.
So I've been this idealistic person like Don Quixote, you know, tilting at windmills, growing the business, having this bigger vision. But, you know, it was always my wife and others who were behind me cleaning up the mess and making sure that the business was running on a good, sound footing.
Aaron and Ratna, you not only built a successful business, you also established the organic foods market. You built, and we benefited.
Thank you. I just have to tell you a family story. Our eldest son was studying in London, England, and my husband and I went to visit, and he said, well, can you bring Cheerios? Because they don't sell Cheerios in London, England. So I said, well, let's find a store that deals in North American goods. And there was a package of Nature's Path. So you have certainly spread around the world, and congratulations. What an incredible and inspiring group of individuals. And now I'd like to turn things over to my co-chair, Bill Weinmark. Bill has an extensive background as a mining engineer, having been involved with the startup and turnaround of several mines throughout Western Canada. He spent much of his career as president of Vancouver Wharves, the bulk terminal site now owned and operated by Kinder Morgan. He is currently the president of Weinmark Engineering and proudly serves on the boards of multiple companies. And he's been a fabulous co-chair. So hello, Bill.
Thank you, Barbara, and good evening. I would like to begin by sharing my congratulations to all of our new laureates this evening. You joined the prestigious ranks of our previously inducted laureates and are an example of leadership and integrity that our future leaders will strive to attain. I'm at the official Hall of Fame site at the Vancouver Convention Centre, where you will find all the names of the laureates inscribed in this monument. We now have a total of 88 laureates in the Hall of Fame, including this year's new additions. This sculpture here represents the 4 characteristics of a laureate: leadership, integrity, vision, and legacy. When it's safe to do so, I invite you to visit the Hall of Fame, experience its magnificence, and learn about those who have shaped the beautiful province we call home. If you are wondering how laureates are chosen, well, it's you, the business community. Each year, the nomination committee relies on contributions from the business community to determine who has earned a spot in the Hall of Fame. Nominations for the 2022 Hall of Fame are now open, and I encourage you to consider someone worthy of this recognition. Visit the Hall of Fame website to learn more. If you scroll down the screen, you will find the link. Now, I have one more thing I want to show you. In honor of the 15th anniversary of the Hall of Fame, the Executive Committee decided to commission a special plaque to recognize the extraordinary vision and dedication of the co-founders of the Hall of Fame. 15 years ago, 2 people decided that BC needed a place to honor its business leaders. And they envisaged the Hall of Fame as an appropriate way to both celebrate leadership and raise money so that JABC could inspire and prepare our province's future leaders. Those 2 individuals are Barbara Brink and Jim Shepherd. I have known Barbara and Jim for over 30 years. They are truly great Canadians who have dedicated so much to our community. On behalf of JABC and the business community, I want to thank both of you for your commitment to youth, the province, and to our country. It has been an honor for me to have worked with both of you over so many years. You both have built so that everyone can benefit. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you, Bill. That's a wonderful honor, and thank you so much. I hope that, Bill said, go and visit. We go in through the Jack Pool Plaza entrance, and it's right there. It's quite magnificent as you go up the ramp. So now we're going to meet the laureates live. To help us introduce this segment, we're joined by Martin Thibodeau, the Regional President of RBC Royal Bank. Thank you, Martin.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you have been enjoying the program so far. I am so pleased to be here tonight on behalf of RBC's 7,000 employees across British Columbia. Many of them are proud, enthusiastic JABC volunteers. The stories of the laureates we are honoring tonight are so inspiring. Their outstanding leadership and their impact in our community will be felt for generations to come. We see this now in the amazing young people we are meeting tonight. That's why RBC has been supporting this Hall of Fame celebration since it started in 2006. Each business laureate inspires many youth across British Columbia who are preparing for employment and entrepreneurship. The need for inspiration has never been more important for our youth. The global pandemic has completely turned upside down the lives of young people. Many are feeling less confident and less optimistic about their future. Rbc Future Launch is our commitment to empowering young people to prepare for the jobs of tomorrow. Working with long-standing partners like JBC, we are finding new ways to reach young people. We want to ensure they have the supports they need to manage and thrive right now. And we want to ensure they are gaining the business and financial skills needed for their success. Like many of the business and community leaders joining us virtually tonight, we share JABC's mission to inspire and prepare youth to succeed in a global economy. This includes the exceptional laureates we are just about to hear in a minute. It is now my pleasure to introduce our moderator for this conversation, Greg Davignon. Greg is the President and CEO of the Business Council of British Columbia. He's a seasoned leader in both the public and private sectors. He's a frequent contributor, facilitator, and commentator on business and public policy issues that influence the economy and prosperity of British Columbia and Canada. We are honored to have Greg join us tonight to lead us through this conversation with 4 of our 2020 Hall of Fame laureates, Gordon Diamond, Chief Clarence Louis, and Aaron and Ratna Stevens. Please enjoy the conversation and enjoy the evening.
Well, thanks so much, Martin, for your kind introduction, and good evening, everyone. I always look forward to the Business Laureates dinner, as I know all of you do, and I'm looking forward to seeing everyone in person in the future. It's such a great time to renew friendships and acquaintances, build new ones, and to be inspired. As we've seen again this evening, the inspiration of the JBC students, who are just so poised and so full of promise. It's quite clear our future's in great hands. But it's also clear the important role that JABC plays in building out the foundations of opportunity for those young people that are going to lead to our prosperity in the future. The other thing I'm inspired about is the laureates themselves, those that have come before and those that we're honoring this evening. It's such a privilege for me to have the opportunity to sit down virtually with our 4 business laureates that are being recognized and justly honored tonight. Gordon, Ratna, Aaron, and Chief Louis, thanks so much for joining us, and really looking forward to hearing more about your stories. Maybe before we start, if I can, obviously you've been successful in almost every measure of your lives, but what's clear as a common thread among all 4 of you is that you've made a significant contribution to serving people and to lifting up your community and making us healthier, more sustainable, and a better province. So Gordon, I've seen your leadership in action, and I also know that you're prompt and helpful. I've seen it when we served together on the Cancer Foundation board together. In fact, I was teasing Gordon about 2 hours ago. He was already dressed in his tux, ready to go. Yeah. Gordon, when you look at leadership around you and in the community, what's the most important quality of leadership that you believe and hold to be the most important?
Relationships, trust, and be honorable with the people that work with you, not for you. And real relationships are based on trust. And if they need help, we'll help them, because I'm very honored for this award tonight, but it's all the wonderful people that work for me and work with me. They don't work for me, they work with me. And to see a team working is what really turns me on. Okay.
Chief Louis, you've had great success in your community. I think as I've known you and other chiefs, people don't appreciate you're the CEO of a community, but you're the mayor, the key motivator, the visionary. You wear a whole bunch of hats. I can see a few football helmets behind you. What, from your perspective, is the most important part of your leadership and the boldness that you've shown as both chief and a leader in British Columbia's economy?
First of all, I want to thank the BC Business Hall of Fame and congratulate the other inductees. Leadership is something that to me is a commitment. It's a full-time commitment. You can't do it half-time. It's 24/7 every day of the year. And you can't just stick handle around. You got to put the puck in the net, as the others have all done, like Peter Brown and Jimmy Pattison. I mean, you got to put the puck in the net, and you got to have a good team around you. And was mentioned by Gordon, it's about relationships. I mean, we're in the people business when it comes right down to it. Being a leader, especially of a First Nation, you're in the people business. I deal in everything from cradle to grave of all of my 500 people. You know, my corporation, my owners are really 550 members of the Sioux Indian Band. That's who I have to work for and care for and look after the quality of life from cradle to grave.
Thanks so much for that. Ratna and Aaron, it's evident that you're partners in so many ways that have been successful and provided leadership. As you look to the future and you look back on your journey and your career, is there one person or people that have been inspirational to you? And what did they do to provide you some guidance to set you on the path of the success you've both had?
Go ahead.
I would like to thank the nominating committee, the judges. I'm the first colored woman or East Indian woman to be inducted. I feel very grateful. I feel the path or the way has been started and many will follow. I also would like to congratulate the fellow recipients. My goodness, I'm honored. We are honored and privileged to be in their company. The company of many who have gone before us and who will come after us. I was brought up in a rural India, the only woman who went to university. My role model was my widowed grandmother. She taught me how to be resilient. She taught me how to persevere. And she made sure I went to university. She was the greatest impact in my life. Then all the wonderful entrepreneurs whose stories I have read. The first one I read about Ray Kroc, grinding it out. I was really touched and inspired. Wendy McDonald. When I was young, I saw her, talked to her. I felt, my goodness, if she can do it, why can't I? So there have been many mentors in my life, and I'm very grateful. And also grateful for Aaron's trust and faith in me. Aaron, my husband. So here you go.
That's a hard act to follow, Aaron. Do you want to jump in?
I don't know. I'll try. I'm very grateful to the inspiration of my mom and my dad on the farm. My dad taught me to revere the land. My mother and father were those rare people that did not have any racial prejudice I had a half brother who was part First Nations, and I think a best friend of my parents was an old black man named Harvey who had a trucking business out of Victoria. So we were brought up without this filter of racial discrimination. I have to give my gratitude to my mentors, my spiritual mentors that I've had in my life, who have taught me to look beyond more than just the material, to look beyond just the apparent, and to see some hidden principles at work, some hidden laws at work within our lives and all around us. And I thought that the greatest purpose of being in a position of power is to serve and to protect.
Thanks so much for that, Gordon. I know you've been inspired by a number of people, but who's the person that's been most inspirational, and what did they do for you?
I guess probably the most important person in my life, besides my wife, I would say my father. My father taught me how to work hard. If you give me a job, I do it, and I have wonderful people working with me. I'm very fortunate that now I work through Barry Glotman of West Coast and Andrew Abramowitz of Osterville Properties. And it's a team effort, and we respect the people that work with us. And I respect them. And previously you were saying, what does a person feel like? And to just listen and see young people mature, and in many ways, I think I should be working for them. In many ways I am, but I'm an honorable guy. My word is my bond. I respect the working person. I've worked, but I'm just proud of my company. I'm proud of the people, and I'm sort of a happy fellow. Yeah. Next, okay.
Thanks, Gordon. Chief Louis, the nature of these kinds of honors are that you look back on the catalog of all the things that each of you have done, and as the motto of the Business Laureate says, you've built it and now we're benefiting from it. What excites you about the future? You've been chief, I think, for 10 terms, so you've got it down pat, but what inspires you, and what excites you about the future for not just the Osoyoos Nation, but for the communities that you touch all across the country?
10 terms, come on, your short list, 18 terms.
I was never good at math.
Yeah. But in any case, what excites me is Canada's youngest and fastest growing population are the First Nations people. And especially here in BC, where there are more Indian reserves than anywhere in the country. There are more First Nations, 203. And it's only been within the last couple of decades that First Nations people are getting out from the colonial past of being dependent, which was a forced dependency by the Canadian in the BC government. And the amount of economic development, the amount of job creation, the amount of joint ventures, anything you can think of, the types of businesses that are happening on the over 1,500 Indian reserves in this province. The First Nations of BC are in the next decade are gonna, the sky's the limit in the amount of joint ventures and jobs and the billions of dollars that the First Nations people of this province are going to be contributing to the economy of this province, and the youngest and fastest growing population. So many First Nations youth are becoming entrepreneurs. We have youth right now in business schools. We have one in California right now taking golf pro management because he wants to come back and manage our golf course. So the First Nation youth in this province are getting back on their economic course, and we're going to participate and have our inherent right to be part of the economies of all of our traditional territories.
Well, thanks for what you've done and what you're about to do, I know. Aaron and Ratna, you were trailblazers, and you talked about it in the video and just a moment ago, where you were early pathfinders for what is now the buzzword of ESG, or triple bottom line, where you incorporate purpose of a business, but also look at it through a lens of sustainability and inclusion and good governance and vision. In terms of your leadership, what do you get excited about in the future, where there's now, just commercial terms, $100 trillion of ESG capital looking for companies like yours? Where do you get excited for your business and for, more broadly, that sustainability framework that you've been guiding?
Well, before we kick off, we would certainly like to see this company triple in size. And we want to pass it intact, healthy, and strong to the next generations. We already have had 3 of our grandchildren working in the business, 3 of our 7 grandchildren, 6 of whom are girls. And that's a very satisfying thing for us. We still have some aspirations to continue this trajectory of growth in our company. We currently employ directly about 750 people, indirectly probably another 300 through brokerages and things like that. And we're a bit looking at some acquisitions as well. So we're not interested in selling out, but we are interested in continuing what's been started so that the next generation can lead it forward.
As a legacy company, what really inspires me and thrills me when I see young people and they are driven, they are purpose driven, they're sustainability driven, they are climate activists. You see these young ones and you see hope. You see this young one, you see success. You see this young one and you see perpetuity, continuation of the legacy that we started a long time ago.
Thanks so much
for that. We want to leave this world better than we found it. Sorry, back to you, Greg.
Thanks very much, Aaron. As is typical, I know we're going to stay behind and chat afterwards, but we're starting to get close on time. And Gordon, I'm going to allow you, and I'll speak to each of the laureates just to provide some final thoughts, but you're involved in so many things. You've been such a leader in philanthropy, in the business community, and providing generational opportunity and leadership. When you sit back in the quiet of your office or the place that you enjoy the most, and you look back on what you're most satisfied with, or where you get real adrenaline or emotional payback on the things you do, is there one thing that really resonates with you around satisfaction of what you've accomplished or what you could be doing again?
What turns me on is that we are a fine, great company. We have family members, we have a team, and what turns me on, I'll be listening to various meetings and I'm in the background, but if I wasn't there, what the family and what the team has built is that my company will continue without me. And I think that that's what turns my crank. I'm proud of the people that work with me. I'm proud of my son-in-laws. I'm proud. I have one of my granddaughters working, and she's doing an outstanding job. She's in sales. She's bringing in customers. It's just wonderful. And my youngest daughter runs the foundation. I'm proud of her. I'm proud of Laurie. I'm just like, I get a glow on. And yes, I've done well, but I've given back and I continue to keep giving back. And I guess that's what it is. It's going to go on without me. It's a legacy, and it's you can't buy that feeling that I have when I look at my plants, when I look at the buildings, and that we're capable of doing things like this. And I think it's just wonderful. So, and I love working with you. I'm not a great orator, but I'm honorable to my people, and that makes me feel good. I trust my people, and I'll teach my people.
Thanks, Gordon. Chief Louis, you've been bold, you're passionate about a lot of things. I know Harley's, but what are you most proud of, or what's the thing that gets you up in the morning?
In this type of work that the chief does, our business leaders do, there is no finish line. There is no finish line in what we do. The seat I occupy doesn't belong to me. There's been many, many past chiefs and councils, and I only occupy this seat for a period of time. And I hope to leave it in better shape than when I first started 36 years ago. And everything gets built upon from one generation to another. And in a native way, we're supposed to think 7 generations ahead. So everything we do here is for the 7th generation, all of those that are unborn, and having a quality of life. That's really what it comes down to. And having a job and job opportunities, we have to create more job opportunities for our people. And in the business relationship that we have with the adjoining towns, when I went to Native Studies school in Lethbridge in Saskatchewan, and I was writing term papers on land claims and treaties when I was 19 years old. The original treaty relationship in this country was based on business. Back then it was the fur trade, it was Hudson Bay Company. I want to get back to that original treaty relationship where natives and non-native people can work side by side, just like they do at Jackson Triggs Winery or at Incomeep Cellars or at Spirit Ridge or at the Okanagan Correctional Center that's on the res, at our golf course, for example. Every one of our businesses have native and non-native people working side by side. And I want to see that the same level of income, the same quality of life that non-native people enjoy on our traditional lands, that all First Nations, and especially the Sioux Indian Band, that they have the same opportunities and the same passion for whatever they want to do as they get from grade school, high school, and graduate. To me, it's about opportunity, and a job of a leader is the chief is to produce more opportunities for my people, and there's no finish line in that. So I only occupy the seat for a period of time, and somebody else, and the cycle of leadership is going to happen here, as it should. I should not be here, you know. I'm not going to be like Jimmy and Peter Brown getting up at 6 a.m. when I'm in my 90s. I don't get up at 6 a.m. right now. I'm too lazy to start work at 6 a.m. But in any case, you know, I'm so happy that the Sioux Indian, and all these recognitions are for the Sioux Indian Band, because I don't own any of these companies. I'm not the individual entrepreneur. I'm not the one that put up the money for these Sioux Indian Band operations that we have. So any recognition that the Sioux Indian Band gets, like this one, it's not me. It's for the Sioux Indian Band. That's who I work for.
Well, thanks so much, Chief. We've run out of time, but Ratna and Aaron, I want to give you the last thought as we leave this portion of the dinner this evening.
Okay, thank you so much. We are filled with gratitude, and we feel very humble in receiving this award and for whatever has been achieved through us. We don't take credit for having done whatever we've done, whatever has come through us. But we think that it's very important that we must take care of Mother Earth. We must take care of this planet before it's too late. As David Suzuki says, what business can you conduct on a dead planet? So I think it's our first and foremost responsibility is to take care of this planet that we all share not just for us, because we're getting up there in years, but for the generations that will follow us. This is where we feel very united in our purpose, Ratna and I.
Thank you both so much. We really appreciate it. Ratna, go ahead. Last moment.
You know, what has come through us, as Aaron has said, is like leaving some footprints in the sand of time. So these are few footprints are left. Hopefully, it's not going to be erased too soon. Hopefully, people can be inspired by little things that we have done, little difference that we have made. Thank you.
Thank you both so much. Chief Louis, Gordon, thank you, Aaron and Ratna. Now we're going to hear from one of this evening's presenting sponsors, my friend Will Westerling of Fasken. Will, over to you.
Good evening, everyone. It is an honor to represent my colleagues from Fasken and join in tonight's celebration of the 13 laureates being inducted into the Business Laureates of BC Hall of Fame. As British Columbia's largest law firm with offices in Vancouver and Surrey, we at Fasken pride ourselves on making community involvement a top priority. We are extremely proud of our affiliation with JABC and the Hall of Fame, having been a supporter of this prestigious event since its inception 15 years ago. The Hall of Fame plays an important role in recognizing those who have been instrumental in building our province and paving the way for the opportunity and prosperity we enjoy today. In a year that has been filled with many unexpected challenges, effective leadership and adaptability have proven to be integral to keeping our province strong. As we work through our COVID economic recovery, we know that the decisions and actions demonstrated by our business leaders of today will shape our province's future. Resilience and vision is what we need, and our business community has that in spades. The laureates being inducted into the Hall of Fame know all about this. Their legacy is built on resilience, built on vision, and built on the leadership they have so effectively provided. We are grateful for the individual contributions made by each of our laureates, and we celebrate them all. By supporting the Hall of Fame, we also support the mandate of JABC to provide access to life-changing programs to BC's youth and help create our leaders of tomorrow. I would like to thank Greg for leading our laureate conversation this evening. And thank you to Gordon Diamond, Chief Clarence Louis, and Aaron and Ratna Stevens for sharing your experiences and your insights with us. As highly regarded BC business leaders, it is both informative and an honor to have you address us. I know that each of you have inspired many of our viewers in this evening's significant online audience. Thank you for all that you have done for our communities, our province, and our country. Congratulations also to the families of the 10 posthumous Pioneer Laureates who are being inducted tonight. Their contributions continue to be recognized and are being celebrated today. And finally, congratulations to JABC on the 15th anniversary of the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame laureates have a legacy that is enduring. Their actions and their leadership have helped to build a society and an economy which provides limitless opportunities for future generations of British Columbians. Thank you and good night.
Thank you, Will. Your support and commitment to the Hall of Fame is truly appreciated. Fasken has been with us since the day we started 15 years ago. And thank you, Greg, for moderating our conversation this evening. This was a new direction for us, and I think it was very meaningful. It was wonderful to learn more about our laureates. Once again, congratulations on this honor. As we wrap up the evening, I would like to once again thank our co-presenting sponsors, Fasken and RBC. Thank you also to our Student Award sponsors, Axiom, Travelers, PH&N, Nicola Wealth, Osterville Properties, Peter and Joanne Brown Foundation, and Tech. And also thank you to Marin Investments, PFM Executive Search, Nature's Path Foods, Redux, and West Coast Reduction. You can see all of our sponsors by scrolling down on your screen. Thank you once again to my co-chair, Bill Weinmark, and JABC's president and CEO, Sheila Biggers. And my personal thank you to Rosine and Aisha for making our year so much more fun, given even these difficult times. I also want to thank the cabinet for their ongoing leadership. They stuck through with this, and I love Clarence Louie's line, there is no finish line, so we'll be back next year. And thank you to Minister Collon for joining our celebration. And thank you, and most importantly, to my Hall of Fame co-founder, Jim Shepard, who 15 years ago came to me with the idea to build a Hall of Fame, and here we are today. There are almost 100 people in our Hall of Fame, by the way. We'll also see you next year. So good night, and thank you for joining us. It was wonderful to have your support.